So the news is out. I know the boxing world has heard, but Ronda Rousey said she thought about committing suicide after the loss to Holly Holmes, and Manny Pacquiao says gays are worse than gays are worse than animals. Man, it's hilarious how people you look up to, you don't know their struggles or their inner thoughts because they're so programmed. For example, let's start with Ronda Rousey. Before that fight, she was Superwoman, invincible, made of steel, and immediately after she loses, she wants to commit suicide. And I did a video on her after the fight, how she was ignoring the media and the press. And prior to the fight, she was everywhere media wanted to be, challenging Floyd Mayweather, using his name to build up her brand, attaching herself to Floyd Mayweather, so um, they could compare and obviously she can get endorsements and her name gets broader and broader and broader, But and then you fast forward to or the flip side, Manny Pacquiao, who's a devout Christian, and it's just amazing how um, I know it's a great conversation in terms of um, is homosexuality right? Is homosexuality wrong? And you have the right to speak up on it. But Manny Pacquiao has done so many things not in correlation with quote unquote Christianity. For example, uh, the Floyd Mayweather fight. He didn't shake Floyd Mayweather's hand after the fight. And keep in mind, remember, he says, I want to have Bible study or something after the fight. And he says, God brought him here to defeat Floyd Mayweather. Oh, man. And then we all know about uh, his infidelities with his wife. That's been publicly known. But, you know, I don't delve into that subject. The reason why I don't delve into that subject because what relationships are different. Whatever you have in your relationship. So I choose not to use that against any man because it's up to the wife to accept him back and do all that. So I won't talk about that, but I'll just talk about uh, leading into the Floyd Mayweather fight. We're going to pray, have Bible study after the fight. God loves you, Jesus loves you, and but there you got it. That's a delicate situation. When you're dealing with homosexualities in America and for that matter, the world. And it's funny because, not funny, but I was at the Pan African Film Festival all week last week looking at tons of film, right? And someone brought up a great point about the evolution, how the Bible doesn't evolve, how it doesn't have a back, it has an, why does the Bible have a, have a cover on it? It shouldn't have a cover. The Bible should evolve. For example, talk about just organic evolution, about uh, about humans, and they brought up the example of the computer. How when computers first came out, uh, your grandparents, or I would say our grandparents, that generation thought the computers were the devil. Remember that? Remember that Y2K and we all gonna burn in hell but we have to evolve as a society, you know. Like, for example, there is no verse in the Bible that that's used to end slavery. For example, um, and keep in mind they use Christianity to tame slaves, so or use the Bible to tame slavery. So, but there's no verse in the Bible that says slavery is wrong. It needs to be abolished. So if the Bible was written before slavery and slavery was wrong and people used slavery to tame slaves, there are certain things that we should be asking ourselves in terms of the Bible itself and how it should evolve. But I mean, humans are humans. You know, I asked my cousin because I know nothing about the homosexual lifestyle, and I was asking her. I said, "Do you think you were born gay?" And she said, yeah. She said she remember in kindergarten she was liking girls, and she thought it was odd because all the other girls were liking boys, and she had no interest in boys. And um, you know, it's just something that I could never ever uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Ever truly fully understand. But you got to allow people to live their lives, and the reason why I say you got to allow people to live their lives is because we are blessed with, no matter what religion you have, you're blessed with the gift of discernment, knowing right and wrong, and free will, with the exception of killing people, obviously, and raping people and doing things to hurt people. But you're blessed with free will, and you can, on earth, you can do what you want to do, and how you choose to live your 70, 80 years here on earth, it's totally up to you. There's a gay community where you can go and have sex with same sex, and and I'll be honest, it took me time to get to this point because growing up an alpha male, competing in the locker rooms with guys, and so I would say in my college years I was without a doubt homophobic, in terms of being an alpha male and machismo, and being alpha male was physical. But when you, as you get older and you have a family, you realize there's a mental component to being an alpha male and a metaphysical component to being an alpha male, and you just have to accept it. Now, with homosexuality, obviously, you can't increase uh, the human species and or population here in the world. So, um, but that'll never be an issue because there'll always be enough people opposite sex having sex with one another. That'll never. So that argument doesn't have much merit. But it's just alarming how Manny Pacquiao can say these words. You can be against it, but to compare them to animals, that's he was basically trying to call them the scum of the earth. If I'm going to paraphrase, or excuse me, if I'm going to summarize what he says or fully grasp what he says, he's basically saying they're basically scum of the earth, and they basically shouldn't be here. I'm going to disagree with him to that. Now the question is, do I believe homo? I really don't care. I'm. If you would ask me maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said, "Oh, homosexuality is wrong." But when I realized a sin in my eyes, a sin is a sin. If I steal a quarter from you, or I have sex, or not I, but if a human have sex with a man, it's the same thing. It's the same sin. And in Christianity, they teach that there's no big I's and little U's. So I'm so I don't have an opinion on it in terms, or I have an opinion on it, but I believe in free will. Let people live their life and do what they want to do. Now, the visuals that I choose to have in my life is totally up to me. Now, if you were to ask me, do I want my son being exposed to that? And no, I mean, no, you want your son to procreate. You want the legacy of your last name to live on and on. So no, I wouldn't want my child to be gay. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm just trying to help you understand my thoughts in terms. But I just thought it was just terrible what Manny Pacquiao said. And two, Ronda Rousey, you never know what's going on in her head, and I'm glad she snapped out of it. But it also goes to show you that we're all human and we all have problems, no matter how great you are or how much money you have, whether you're Warren Buffett, Floyd Mayweather, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and for that matter, Ronda Rousey, you know, and Manny Pacquiao. We all need help and or assistance. So, but let me know what you guys think. Um, for the one, and honestly, this is the one of the few times where I've seen Ronda Rousey come off as very sincere. You know, she's been humbled. She, she says, "I was thinking about killing myself after the Holmes loss." You know, that's her quote. I mean, she's been humbled. So now she's appeasing to the heartstrings of America, or I should say the world, because she's a brand now. Um, and will it work? We'll see. They're fighting July, the second week in July, in Vegas. I think it's in Vegas, but I may go to that fight. If there's something else attached to it, I think I would go. So if there's a boxing card or something, maybe that Friday, it could be small, big or small. But if I can, but I wouldn't go just for the Ronda Rousey fight, you know. But anyways, this is barbershop conversation. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Um, I know this turned into a social conversation because homosexuality divides families, divides people in churches, and it's but it's the reality. It's the reality in which we live in. So I should further this conversation, have more more conversation since we all know all these conversations takes place in the barbershop. Anyways, barbershop conversations. Um, I think like all of us, we're walking contradictions. Manny Pacquiao is definitely a walking contradiction who's never criticized for being a walking contradiction. And Ronda Rousey has been completely humbled. And now we'll see where she goes from here. And I'm interested to see how mainstream media depicts Manny Pacquiao. And he gave an apology earlier today. It was on TMZ. And but it's you shouldn't have to apologize for how you really feel. If you believe it, you believe it. You know, I mean, whether he apologized or not, it's not going to affect his purse against Timothy Bradley. He's getting 8 figures for that fight, no matter if he apologized for gays or, it doesn't matter. So, anyways, barbershop conversations. Appreciate you guys' support, and let's further this conversation. And I'm interested to know what you guys think about homosexuality and and the stance because man, I know I was homophobic in my early 20s, but I've since there's bigger issues now. You know, there's bigger issues than ridiculing someone for being gay and let them live their life. At the end of the day, I believe in the butterfly effect, so everything has value. But what you do in your home is what you do in your home. So, anyways, barbershop conversation. Appreciate you guys. Peace.